there's no other way. We're already at this point. We can either stop what we're doing and try to get better, or continue down the continue down the friggin' rabbit hole. And unfortunately, they continue down the rabbit hole because now they're on crack, now they're on heroin, now they were probably under everything under the damn sun. Hey guys, what's good? No, what's really good? Today in Molly's World, of course you know, where we hop in the director's seat, divulge in our treats, and get into the real good deeds. Okay, so I don't want to keep you waiting any longer. I really don't, because I actually love this movie. Like, something hit me, and we'll get to it. So, without further ado, let's get into the movie review of Charity. Action. So of course, you know, I love to start off with my actors, and one of the main characters in this entire thing, of course everyone knows, is Tom Holland. It was really nice to see him in a deeper role with, not saying that Spider-Man isn't deep, I'm just saying that like, he was in a different light, and it was someplace really dark is what I'm trying to say, compared to the positive, like, uplifting, jolly, naive spirit that he has in Spider-Man. This was kind of like the complete opposite. So I have to give him his round of applause, because yes, that he deserves every award. I hope he gets an award for this movie, because I really do admire the acting in this. We also have to give it up for my girl Ciara Bravo, who you know was his girlfriend in this movie, and I find that it was also great to see her again in a different light. We've always seen her in like positive, childish, like jovial things, but it was great to see her in a different role and in a different scene or setting, and her be able to completely embody that character. So once again, round of applause for her. I'm sorry, I don't want it to melt. I feel bad for betraying Talenti, because I think it's just because I was hungry and I thought it just tastes good, but this shit got nothing on Talenti. I'm so sorry. I'm trashing this ice cream while eating it. The movie starts off very dramatic. Like, he is literally robbing a bank. But it was very Deadpoolish to me, where he was explaining the situation to the audience, where like he was breaking the fourth wall, and he does that constantly throughout the movie, where it's kind of like an action will be happening and he'll break the fourth wall and explain what's happening here while still doing the action. The ability for you to speak to the audience while your body is still in character. Again, Tom Holland, very much yes. In the beginning of the movie, he also mentions that he's 23. And when the flashback happens, we then see him in what appears to be high school, or before he goes off to basic training to be in the army. Now, the reason why he went off to basic training and to be in the army is because he met this girl, who is played by Ciara Bravo. He described the moment as like his soul was jumping, and he knew that like the minute he laid eyes on her, yes, he wanted to have sex with her, but he also wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. And of course, you know, they got together, but Ciara, obviously, you can see from this point in the movie, and this is just the beginning, that she got issues and she got problems. Not saying that I'm picking a side here, but Nico, Tom Holland, decided that he was gonna go out to the army, because like, what the fuck? Like, the person I'm in love with decides to just up and leave me, so what the hell am I gonna do with my life now? Like, I thought we had like a future plan and everything. Like, we're just gonna break up. And he decided, well, if we're gonna break up and nobody's gonna be here for me, I'm gonna go to the army. So he enlisted. And then 2 days after he enlisted, homegirl comes back and says she doesn't want to go anymore. She was just running from love, and she does love him as well. So now they're sad at the fact that he has to go to basic training, but she's like, no, I'll wait on you. don't leave me, but leave me. I'll wait on you. So she waited on him while he went off to basic training. While he's in basic training, there was this one little cute part where like he was laying down and like they were doing like the Spider-Man hands at him. In the beginning, we got to see things through his eyes. And at some point, we thought it was because he was high, because he was already taking Xanax for his anxiety. So it kind of gave the illusion that he was high, but really it wasn't that. It was just him not being able to see colors fully. And when he got to basic training and he found out that he was colorblind and everything else, it all made sense to me why the movie was named Cherry. And we'll get to that completely at the end when I give my full explanation. It's based off of a book. So the movie was separated into chapters. The chapter where he actually entered into the desert was named Cherry. Now, like I said before, it was the whole colorblind thing. That's what I meant to mention. Each one of those things are like bloodshot red. It's like a striking red. And I feel like that was a very important part for there being that striking red overlay to kind of like remind us not only of the pain of this entire storyline, but also the fact that he's like colorblind and sometimes this may be how he sees the world, or the lack of the color of red may be how he sees the world. We're now out in the field and everything else with his people and friends that he's made in basic training. They're out on the field and he sees someone die. After seeing that, it changed him. He didn't want to be there anymore. He couldn't wait to go home. He couldn't handle the pain. And then the vehicle is either bombed or something happens and it just blew up. So the friend that he met that had a child back home and was married and everything, he passed away. And all his other friends and like, you know, the little buddies that he made were all in that car and they also were passed away. I know I felt him cry in Infinity War. Was it in Infinity War? Yes. In Infinity War when he cried and he was disappearing, I felt that. When Tony Stark died and he cried, I also felt that. But when I tell you he cried in this movie, and each time he cried, it just got better. And I was like, damn, like he is really in this role. Like he is really acting his fucking ass off. I was like, yes, I want to cry with you. I feel it. And after his friends died, I said, oh yeah, my heart's broken. Let me go get the ice cream. And that's why we're here. Veterans who come home don't have like the proper attention or the proper care. It may not still be happening. It may still be happening in certain places. But this was a prime example of those people who fall through the cracks and don't receive that mental health help that they should get after seeing the things that they've seen. Because now Nico comes home and unfortunately he's suffering from PTSD, having night terrors and like angry outbursts and flashbacks, and it's bad for him. And the only way he can cope is now to drugs. I also don't know what year this was. I don't know if it was currently. I don't know the year of the movie or the setting of the movie. I kind of feel like it was back in like, yeah, the 2000s, around there. It would make sense because they said Iraq and then 9/11. My brain, we love it here. But what the fuck was I saying? Oh, he didn't apply to be a medic. Emily, as his girlfriend, is trying to support him. She's trying to do everything in her power to help him, and he in himself knows what he's doing is wrong and also does not want to put Emily through this. So whatever she asked, he did, whether it was go to therapy, take this pill, don't take that one. He started to be more compliant to her. until he finally got to go see a doctor and they diagnosed him with PTSD. They then gave him a stronger pill than Xanax. I think it was like Oxy some crap, but it was Oxy. And out of frustration, Emily's like, well, I'm tired of your shit and you're driving me crazy to the point where I can't sleep, I can't breathe, so might as well we just share pills. And they both got high. And I kind of enjoyed this scene, but also it broke my heart because it kind of touched me. So they're laying on the bed and it's kind of like a drone shot. And I guess they're both numb and highed out, like just high as hell off of Oxy. And they start to talk. It was the very last thing that they said to each other. Tom then says, but we can't go back to that. And he doesn't know if he wants to or if they have the ability to. And she agrees. Emily agrees with him and then proceeds to say, but I don't want that either. And I felt like that made Nico cry and tear up, but it also made me kind of tear up because it was them acknowledging the past is the past. Yes, we've both done some messed up things and it may have been better then, but the only way through this is together. And through it, there's no other way. We're already at this point. We can either stop what we're doing and try to get better, or continue down the continue down the friggin' rabbit hole. And unfortunately, they continue down the rabbit hole because now they're on crack, now they're on heroin, now they were probably under everything, under the damn sun, okay? I love the parallel events throughout the movie because the minute he saw Emily, like the world stopped around him. And when he would remember his dead soldiers in his nightmares, I don't know if anyone recognized, but the only difference between those two places in his mind was that Emily had light around her. And all the other places were black and filled with this deep cherry red. You see where I'm going? In the beginning, we see that moment as Emily. Then in the middle of the movie, we see that moment as the loss of his soldiers. And then towards the end of the movie, we see that moment as a self-realization that he needs to do better for himself. Because he watches the bank teller and he's like, call the police. I'm going to go give this man back his money, but I think it's time I give it up. I've done all that I can, but I need to take accountability for my actions. I've allowed a man to die on my hands. I've lost soldiers. My wife and my girlfriend is up, like in the room, withering away to pieces, almost skin and bone. I think it's time for me to take control of my life. Props to the directors and the people who film it, like the videographers holding that camera as steady as hell, and the editors of this film, because there was a part in the movie while he was in jail where it had these flawless transitions. All the camera was doing was moving side to side like this, but it was like the transitions, like they used the same wall, but then he appears back outside and he's doing something where he's helping people, and then it appears back inside where he's sitting and like he's praying or like getting himself together, and then it switches and then he's like in the gym. That transitional part right there, it was constant for like a good 5 minutes, but it was so smooth that you didn't even recognize that it was really happening. So I just want to say that part in the movie was cinematically, or I don't know how you say it, but that entire part, the way it was constructed beautifully. And the song choice, I'm a sucker for a good violin, cello, like a good string section. I appreciate that. And then to the end of the movie, we see him get out of jail early on good behavior or something like that. And we see Emily standing at the car waiting for him. And that is what topped it all. I said, yep, I'm crying. because he got up and he left. He took accountability for his actions. He did what he had to do to make himself better. And I thought she was gonna die because I thought she was just gonna stay addicted to pills and everything. But it's like she had this also like this internal realization and message. If he can take accountability for his actions, it's time that I take accountability for mine as well. Cause she's healthy, glowing, beautiful, and she's just like, this is the person I want to spend my life with. This is the person I want to love. So while he was sitting in jail, I know that he knows to get better. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the outside. And when he gets out, we're going to be better together. Like, I'm just making the script up, but in my mind, that's what they said to each other. Cherries, in my mind, are like the tip of the iceberg. Like the tip of, like the tip of the mountain, the tippity top. The cherry's the last thing you put on the ice cream before you say, here, I'm finished. Or here, I'm done. Or here, you can have this bowl, or you can have this sundae. The reason why that chapter was named Cherry, in my opinion, was because that was the tip of the iceberg for him. That is what changed his life. That was the climax. That was the pivotal point. That was the bowl on top. That was the cherry on top of the sundae, of the ice cream that said, yeah, I'm over this shit called life. No, I'm over this thing called pain. So no matter what I do from this point on in my life, I'm going to do everything to avoid that pain. But I cannot bear any more weight on my shoulders. It was like the final feather that broke the camel's back. It was kind of cute. They rested that cherry and gave him all this loss. And that was what broke him. Boom, that aha moment. When he was standing in that bank, it was kind of like, boom, I rested the cherry on top. Time for me to hand this to you and hand this in. I am done. I am done creating this messy ass sundae. I am done scooping ice creams onto my problems. It's time for me to hand this over. I'm taking accountability for the pile of junk that I'm about to hand to you, but at least I stopped myself before it was too late. At least I put a cherry on top and handed it into you. I feel like symbolically, that's what that moment was to me. So if you guys have not seen this movie as yet, please, it's on Apple TV. I advise you to go take your treats, take a friend, take a loved one. I feel like the movie is very deep. It might be traumatic for some people to watch, but I feel like Tom Holland did a really, really, really great job in this movie. Feel free to scroll down, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get notifications and updates for when I post. You know, getting into more reviews, getting into more series, and just, you know, hopping into Molly's world. But this is all for now, guys. I love you guys so much from the bottom of my cherry-colored, big, beautiful heart. I love you guys so much. Until next time. Mwah.
Casper, it's perfect.